Hey everybody, it's Dak here from the Ed Boys, and welcome to our Runescape 2007 Blast Furnace Moneymaking Guide. Blast Furnace is one of the top non-combat moneymakers in the game. I will briefly explain what you need to do the Blast Furnace and how to run the furnace, then we're going to talk about how you're going to make money with it. Let's start off with the requirements. You need 30 smithing to get into the Blast Furnace, and you have to start the Giant Dwarf quest so that you have access to Keldagrim. There are some other recommendations though. An item that is very helpful at the Blast Furnace is the coal bag. The coal bag can hold an extra 27 coal for you. You can get the coal bag at the Motherlode mine for 100 gold nuggets. You only need 30 smithing to use the Blast Furnace, but if you have less than 60 smithing, it does cost 2.5k for every 10 minutes that you use it, or half of that if you're wearing the Ring of Karos. I would also suggest to bring stamina potions so that you can always be running. Having 30 or higher in strength, crafting, firemaking, and agility are needed to run the furnace. If other players are running the furnace, you can still use it and you don't need these levels, but if you're in a situation where you need to run the furnace, then you are going to need them. I would also suggest having higher agility since there is a lot of running involved. If you could get full graceful clothing, that would help a lot. Next, we'll talk about how to get to the Blast Furnace. If you've already started the quest and you've been to the furnace before, then you can just use the Blast Furnace minigame teleport. Otherwise, you're going to need to make your way to Keldagrim, which is a cave west of Relica. There are a few ways that you can get to the cave. You can either walk north from the Seers village, or there is a fairy ring with the code DKS, and Slayer rings would even teleport you right next to that fairy ring. Once you have entered the cave, you then enter the cave directly north of you, and that will take you into Keldagrim, and you have to talk to the Dwarven Boatman to get into the city. This is also where you would start the Giant Dwarf quest if you have not done so. Then the Blast Furnace is downstairs in the building that I have highlighted here. I'm going to quickly go over how the Blast Furnace works. When you place your ores onto the conveyor belt, it throws them into the furnace where they are mass smelted into bars. The conveyor belt is run by a player pedaling the bike behind it, which requires 30 agility. The cogs, pipes, and drive belt need to all be intact, so make sure they are being fixed when they break, which requires 30 crafting. Someone needs to refuel the stove by shoving coke into the furnace using a spade. This does require 30 firemaking. Someone with 30 strength needs to pump the air. When they are pumping, generally another player will watch the meter to see when it reaches green, which is when the bars smelt. If someone isn't reading and you have some bars waiting to smelt, you'll know when it's done because your bars will smelt and you'll get some smithing XP. Finally, when the bars pour into the mold, someone needs to use a bucket of water on it to cool the bars so they can be picked up. The trick with the Blast Furnace is not just that you can smelt a ton of bars in an hour, but it requires half of the coal to smelt the bars. To make a lot of bars in an hour, you generally won't be running the furnace at all. The official world for the Blast Furnace is 358, but this world is only efficient for a few hours during the day, and it's much faster to use a clan like True Blast Furnace, though they'll generally cost money to use. Once you've found a world or a group of players that are running the furnace well, then you need to just start running ores. There's a lot of strategies to running the ores. I like to keep mine fairly simple so I don't screw up, which I do manage to do occasionally. One thing a lot of players like to do is keep a hammer and bucket in their inventory to help them run the furnace as they run by occasionally. I never really got into that habit, but if your group is running slow, it can help the process. For steel bars, it's very simple. You need the same amount of iron as you do coal, but you need to make sure that you don't put only iron in without coal or you're going to make some iron bars. For 1 or 2 trips, you want to only bring coal with you so that there's already some in the furnace which can hold up to 254 coal. And now for every trip, you just fill up your coal bag and bring an inventory of iron, and you can collect your bars on every bank trip. Mithril bars require 2 coal per bar, so for the first 4 trips I like to take only coal, but then for 8 trips I like to take mithril, and then of course have some coal in the coal bag. You never want to take a trip without coal in your coal bag. That means you get 12 trips where you get 8 loads of bars. You're going to start off adamant bars the same way you started off with mithril, with 4 coal only trips, and then after that you can take 4 more trips with adamant and coal so that you get 4 loads of adamant bars in 8 trips overall. I can't quite smith rune bars as I'm not 85 smithing, but I would do pretty much the same process. I'd start with 2 separate loads of just coal and then 1 load of rune and coal. After that you get 1 load of rune bars in 3 trips, but there's still some coal left over in the furnace. Doing this entire process 4 times will lead you with 4 loads of rune bars and 2 full loads of coal still in the furnace. So after every 4 trips you can do 2 trips in a row where you take some rune ore and grab rune bars. There's a lot of different ways to run your ores efficiently. The best way is really just to go and try it. You'll get a lot better at it as you see how it works. Let's talk about profits though. I can usually manage 112 bank trips per hour as long as the furnace is running well and I don't have to wait for my bars. Here's how many bars you can make per hour based off of how many trips I'm making and how many bars I average per trip based on the methods I was just explaining before. You should check the profit margins yourself to get a good accurate number, but I'll show you what the profit margins look like right now for your overall profit. For the profit per hour, we just look at how many bars we're making in an hour, and then of course how much money we make per bar. Rune bars can be a great money maker, but buying rune ore isn't always a quick thing. Most players that make rune bars like to do their buying and selling overnight. Keep in mind that all of these profits are if the furnace is running perfectly. If you have any hitches in there, then it will be a little slower, so these are really a maximum profit. That's going to wrap it up for this RuneScape 2007 Blast Furnace Money Making Guide, everybody. I hope you got some good information, and best of luck with your money making. I want to thank you guys for watching today's video and helping support the channel. If you enjoyed the video, we would appreciate it if you would hit that like button and tell us what you liked about it in the comments section below. If you're looking for more videos like this one, then go ahead and join the cul-de-sac by clicking that subscribe button and follow us on Twitter at @TheEdBoys. All links are in the description.